Hello friends, this is Nirmal here for Technique, and in this video we're gonna compare two mid-range phones, the ASUS Zenfone 3 with the Moto Z Play. So both these phones are priced below the 25k price point in India, although the ASUS Zenfone 3 comes in two variants. One is 21999 with 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of storage and a 5.2-inch Full HD display. That's a ZE520KL, and we also have ZE550KL with a 5.5-inch display and 4GB RAM and 64GB storage, which is priced 27999. So right now we are covering the ASUS Zenfone 3 5.2-inch variant, and between these two devices are the Moto Z Play, which is priced 24999, available on Flipkart and Amazon. So Moto Z Play and the ASUS Zenfone 3 are two devices in the mid-range segment which comes with quite similar specifications and features. So in this video we'll talk about which is the better device to buy in terms of a lot of aspects like the design, build quality, the software, performance, camera, and also the battery life. So without any further delay, let's get started with the comparison, and let's first have a look at the design and build quality. Now looking at the design of these two phones, you can see both are finished in metal and glass. So we have a rear panel which is finished in glass and looks quite good, while the ASUS Zenfone 3 has curved edges and feels quite good to hold along with the smaller display. The Moto Z Play is sharper in terms of the edge, and you can see it's slightly difficult to hold, and it feels slightly bulky as well because it's not the lightest of devices out there. It's slightly heavy when compared to the ASUS Zenfone 3. So in terms of design and build quality, we would say both these devices are quite good looking devices out there with premium finishing and materials used. But at the same time, you would say the ASUS Zenfone 3 has slightly more premium looks and also feels lighter in hands and also pretty compact because it's a 5.2 inches in screen size, although there is also 5.5 inches device. And we have a capacitive touch buttons in ASUS Zenfone 3, while it's on-screen buttons on the Moto Z Play. And we also have a front fingerprint scanner on the Moto Z Play, while it's on the rear panel on the ASUS Zenfone 3. Now other than that, we also have dual SIM card support, so nothing much to talk about in that aspect. So in terms of the design and build, both these devices are good looking. We would give it to the ASUS Zenfone 3 in terms of the design and build quality and along with the usability aspect. Now let's move on to the display. Now both the phones support 1080p Full HD display, that's a 1080p resolution, and the display quality is really vibrant and colorful on both these devices. While the ASUS Zenfone 3 comes with an IPS LCD panel, it's an AMOLED panel on the Moto Z Play. Now while both these devices have great viewing angles and overall color quality also looks better, we would say the ASUS Zenfone 3 has a slightly better display because it is smaller in size, so the pixel density is higher than the Moto Z Play. So both these devices have quite good displays. We would give it to the ASUS Zenfone 3 in terms of the display quality. Now let's move on to the software and the performance. So this is one area where there is a major difference between these two devices. One, we have a custom ROM which is the Zen UI. On the other hand, we have a stock like UI on the Moto Z Play. So first let's analyze the UI on the ASUS Zenfone 3. So this is the Zen UI, and this is Zen UI 3.0 version, and we can see that a lot of changes have been made. It is a custom UI. It comes with a lot of added features. We have Zen Motion, ASUS customized settings, support for themes, easy mode, kids mode, and it also comes with the fingerprint scanner which is located on the rear panel. So you can see the custom notification panel which is again having quick toggle. So this is an UI which comes with a lot of added features. You have a lot of customization options, but at the same time it's a pretty heavy UI, and it ships with a lot of bloatwares which is some of which are uninstallable and some of which are which you can disable. So that's one major issue. A lot of bloatwares are included with this device, but other than that, this UI feels quite solid and does a quite good job, and it's really responsive. No major lags or issues. Now talking about the UI on the Moto Z Play, it's a stock Android on this device with a few apps included. Some basic apps are included like the file manager and the Moto app which allows you to perform some actions. So there is some voice commands and also some display customizations. Apart from that, it's a basic UI and there's no support for themes, very limited customization options, but you get the look and feel of the stock Android, very much similar to what Google provides with Android. So that's one good good aspect about this UI. So no major customization, it's a lighter UI, and one of the major important aspects about this UI is that already Android 7.0 upgrade is promised. So nothing of that sort as of now promised by ASUS, but it will be getting, Moto Z Play will be getting the update before the ASUS Zenfone 3. So that's one major advantage of the Moto Z Play. So that's the software. Both these devices are quite good in terms of the software. One is a customizable software, one is a plain stock Android. So if you want a bit of customization, definitely the ASUS Zenfone 3 with the Zen UI is a choice. But if you want stock like UI, it's a Moto Z Play. Now talking about the performance, so both these phones are powered by the Snapdragon 625 octa-core chipset, which is coupled with 3GB RAM and 32GB storage on both these variants. So when we tested the performance of these two phones, we found that both the devices performed pretty well in our day-to-day task, and was quite responsive, and there was no lags or issues, and both the devices are really good in terms of the day-to-day experience. And when it comes to gaming as well, we would say both are equally good and does the job pretty well. No lags or issues, and heating is also pretty much controlled. But at the same time, we would say in terms of the overall experience, we would choose the ASUS Zenfone 3 because it's really optimized, and gaming performance is slightly better than the Moto Z Play because there is no heating on the ASUS Zenfone 3 when we played heavy graphic rich games. So in terms of software and performance, we would say it's a mixed bag. Software, we would say it's a personal choice, and in terms of the performance, we would be inclined to choose the ASUS Zenfone 3 even though Moto Z Play also performed equally well. Now both these phones have support for dual SIM cards, VoLTE and micro SD cards. We have a hybrid SIM card on the ASUS Zenfone 3, while it's the dedicated micro SD card slot on the Moto Z Play. Now talking about the benchmark scores, because both the devices are powered by the same processor with same RAM and storage, you can see that both are quite similar in terms of the performance, almost 64K and 62K respectively for the Moto Z Play and the ASUS Zenfone 3. So it's quite decent performer, but it's not as powerful as the Snapdragon 652 or the 650 in the Redmi Note 3 or the Lyco La2. Now looking at the fingerprint scanner on both these phones, you can see it's on the rear panel on the ASUS Zenfone 3, and we have it on the front panel on the Moto Z Play. Both the fingerprint scanners are quite good in unlocking the device, but we would prefer it on the rear panel, but again that's a personal choice. You can the Moto Z Play also performs pretty well in terms of the fingerprint experience. So now let's move on to the camera performance. So we have a 16 megapixel camera on both these devices, dual tone, dual LED flash, laser autofocus. So there is also optical image stabilization on the ASUS Zenfone 3. On the front panel, we again have an 8 megapixel shooter. So the camera configuration is almost similar on both these devices. Now let's look at the camera interface. You can see that the Zenfone 3 offers much more options and modes. You can see a lot of modes are included and a lot of features are there. But on the Moto Z Play, it's a quite simple interface with professional mode, slow motion, panorama and video recording. Now both the phones can record videos in 4K, and there is also optical image stabilization in the Zenfone 3, which helps in better recording abilities and also low light experience. So in terms of the camera experience, we would give it to the ASUS Zenfone 3 if you're looking for more features, and Moto Z Play if you're looking for a pretty simple interface. Now let's talk about the camera samples which we have taken with these two phones. So here are the daylight shots which we have taken with the Moto Z Play and the ASUS Zenfone 3, and you can see that the ASUS Zenfone 3 produces slightly better shots. Both are equally good in terms of the daylight experience, but we would give to the ASUS Zenfone 3 for slightly better color quality in daylight shots. And now moving on to the low light experience, we again see that the ASUS Zenfone 3 produces much better shots than the Moto Z Play because of optical image stabilization, and there is also night mode option available. So in terms of night experience, we would say the ASUS Zenfone 3 laser, it is a better choice. The front facing camera samples are quite good on both the phones. So we have an 8 megapixel shooter on the ASUS Zenfone 3 laser, while it's a 5 megapixel shooter on the Moto Z Play. Now Moto Z Play additionally has a front facing flash, so that helps in taking low light selfies. So that's the camera experience on both these phones. So we would give to the ASUS Zenfone 3 in terms of the overall camera experience, but Moto Z Play is quite good but not best in the low light experience. Now finally talking about the battery. So we have the ASUS Zenfone 3 5.2 inch variant with 2650 mAh battery. That's quite low capacity battery, while we have 3510 mAh battery on the Moto Z Play. So the battery performance is stellar on the Moto Z Play and can get you through almost 1.5 day of usage with moderate usage. On the other hand, you can easily get through 1 day of usage on the ASUS Zenfone 3. Since both these devices have the Snapdragon 625, which is really optimized chipset in terms of the power consumption, so both these phones are really good in terms of the battery life. But then we have a high capacity battery on the Moto Z Play, and that is the battery performance winner. But having said that, if you pick the 5.5 inch variant of the Zenfone 3, we have a 3000 mAh battery. So now we have talked about almost all aspects about these two phones. So which is the better device to buy? The ASUS Zenfone 3 comes in two variants, 21999, that's the variant which we have right now. There is also 27999 variant which comes with 4GB RAM and 64GB storage. And the Moto Z Play comes with 3GB RAM and 32GB storage for 24999. Now the added feature of the Moto Z Play is the Moto modes, so you can attach different modes. So Moto modes are also sold on Flipkart. So we have Hasselblad camera zoom, then there is power bank, power pack is available, then the rear panel cover is included. There's also a projector mode. So there are lots of modes available. So they are quite expensive as of now. So if you want those kind of features, the Moto Z Play offers modes. So these modes are also available on Flipkart. So but at the moment they are quite expensive. So now we have talked about almost all aspects. So if you were to buy a device, we would definitely suggest the ASUS Zenfone 3, the 5.2 inch variant, which is priced 22,000. That's the great deal because it does have a good design, good camera, a good display, good performance all around. But it's not really power packed in terms of the specification when you compare to the Xiaomi's Mi 5 or the OnePlus 3 or even the Lenovo Z2 Plus. But overall, this is a really good device. But now if you're looking for excellent battery life and also want the latest software, that's Android 7.0 before any other device, then you should be choosing the Moto Z Play. Also Moto Z Play comes with Moto modes if you're interested in that concept. Apart from that, we won't suggest the 5.5 inch variant of the ASUS Zenfone 3 because that's priced 27,999, and for that pricing you definitely get the better OnePlus 3 with 6GB RAM and 64GB storage. So we don't recommend the 5.5 inch variant, but we definitely recommend the 5.2 inch variant which has 3GB RAM and 32GB storage. So that was the detailed comparison of these two phones. So hope you like this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. If you plan to buy either of these devices, we have the link available in the description of this video. You can check out our link and buy the device, and that helps our channel. So that's all guys. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.